Star Wars 7x7, episode 1817. Today, we're going to talk about a few different things related to Darth Vader, but also related to the Jedi librarian Jocasta Nu, and also Luke Skywalker and his rebuilding of the Jedi Order. Let's go. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivada, this is Star Wars 7x7. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. You got a little bit of a different background if you're catching the video version. The studio is in the midst of a shift, and over the next couple of days I think we're going to start introducing some different backgrounds, which is pretty cool and something that I've been looking forward to doing since basically the start of 2019. So it's finally happening, and finishing touches are going to be completed this week. Anyway, what you're probably here for is to hear about Vader and about Jocasta Nu and about Luke Skywalker and the Jedi Order. So let's talk about it. This is actually coming from the Dark Lord of the Sith comic series. This is issues 7 through 10 of that second series. And again, as I was talking about with yesterday's episode and the things that we talked about then, this is stuff that takes place more or less right after the events of Revenge of the Sith. And Jocasta Nu is one of the folks who escaped the Jedi Purge. We also find out from a list that has been given to the Inquisitorius to track down and also to prioritize. Ahsoka Tano is on the list, as is Quinlan Voss, the cowboy Jedi. I guess the cowboy Jedi before Kanan Jarrus was a cowboy Jedi. And a few other names that are otherwise unremarkable. Yoda is on the list. I would not say he's otherwise unremarkable, but Obi-Wan Kenobi actually is not on the list, at least of what's shown there. And I guess there's a question of whether anybody thinks he's actually alive, especially after the events of Revenge of the Sith. Maybe they all think he's dead. I don't know, but be that as it may, there is one highly prioritized name on that list. Oddly enough, it's Jocasta Nu, and that's rather surprising to Vader, and he has to go and ask Darth Sidious, aka Emperor Palpatine, what's up with that? Well, it turns out that Jocasta Nu, aside from knowing just about everything there is to know about anything, because, librarians, also she has the key to the future of the Empire, or a key, but we don't yet know what that is right away. And meanwhile, Jocasta Nu, we don't know where she is, actually. They don't say where it was that she went when she was hiding out. But what she is doing is creating what she terms a school for the Force. She is recording everything that she can remember from the Jedi archives and putting it into various holocrons and whatnot. And she says, it's a school I'm building, not a new Jedi Temple archives, but we need students. And so she actually goes on an undercover mission back to Coruscant to get a database of all the Force-sensitive children that the Jedi Order had identified up to the Purge. And this is the key to the future of the Empire that Palpatine is looking for. He sends Vader out in search of Jocasta Nu, knowing that she's probably coming for this, but with instructions to keep her alive, to not kill her, because there are all sorts of secrets that she knows. And in fact, it turns out that there is a secret stash of Force weapons that nobody has located yet, and only she knew how to access it, and there's a robot that's guarding the joint as well. She gets in there, gets her database, and tries to get out, but unfortunately, she just can't let the librarian thing go. It turns out the Grand Inquisitor is in there looking for information about various Jedi and trying to see if there's any way to help track down Jedi that are still missing. He's just in the regular Jedi Temple archives, and Jocasta Nu just can't let it go as he's going, throwing books left and right. And so she ends up pulling her lightsaber on the guy, which doesn't go very well, unfortunately for her. He gets the best of her and is about to kill her until Vader shows up and saves her, which causes, some degree of confusion amongst the Grand Inquisitor, because he thinks he's supposed to be killing Jedi, but nope, not this particular one. Anyway, ultimately Jocasta gets away and she finds some crazy rifle that you can stick a lightsaber into and it will shoot out blasts of kyber crystal fueled energy out of it. So you could almost say that that's a precursor to the weapons that the First Order uses in the sequel movies. But she does get captured, and when the troopers report to Vader that all she had on her was this, one particular thing, and he scans it and realizes it's all the Force-sensitive kids, she says, you know what? Your Emperor is looking for this thing. Guess what he's going to do with it? He's going to make more of you. And, taunts him with the whole thing. And so ultimately, Vader just gets ticked off and kills Jocasta Nu. So that, unfortunately, is the end of Jocasta Nu. But he takes that database memory thing and destroys it, and then reports back to the Emperor and says that, nope, Jocasta Nu died in all the fracas, and there was nothing that she had of use or value to share or to tell or to, have taken away from her or anything like that. So Vader actually acts to protect the database of Force-sensitive children, not necessarily because he thinks that, these kids don't deserve to have a similar fate as him or anything like that. No, he's just trying to eliminate any future competition, basically. And yeah, that's how it goes down. But there is one aspect of all of this that then goes, and has effects many, many decades down the line, and that's the one I'm going to tell you about after the break. Stay tuned. Hey, Rebel Rouser. If you've got a business that needs to reach a dedicated audience of Star Wars fans, or you know somebody who does, then you might want to reach out to me. I've got a show that reaches thousands of people between the audio version, the video version, and our social media channels, and I'd love to find out how I can help you with your business ventures too. Just reach out at sw7x7.com/sponsors. That's plural SPONSORS. That's sw7x7.com/sponsors, and let's see how we can work together. Welcome back. So, as I mentioned earlier, Jocasta Nu in hiding is recording on a bunch of holocrons, not creating a new Jedi Temple archives, but creating a school, all of her knowledge to be able to train future generations of Jedi, because she knows even with this purge, the Jedi light cannot be extinguished from the galaxy. It will eventually rise again. And it does in the form of Luke Skywalker, who at the very end of this story arc, they show finding this Jedi archive, having dug through a whole bunch of rubble because the entrance to it was collapsed in an explosion by the guy who had been hiding out with Jocasta Nu and helping her out. And Luke Skywalker finds it eventually. And so this is one of the ways that he undoubtedly begins to rebuild the Jedi Order. Although they don't tell you how long it is after the events of Return of the Jedi that he finds this Jedi archive. But yeah, he's clearly been looking for it. And he's still, it's hard to tell with the artwork necessarily where he is, but he's got a black glove on, so you would think that it's relatively soon after. I mean, 3 decades, so let's just say within the first decade or something like that, maybe. Lots to still learn about that, but rather exciting that he gets to have access to all of the information that Jocasta Nu recorded while she was able to before she was finally killed by Darth Vader. And that is the storytelling for today's episode to share with you. Also, I will tell you that they showed Darth Vader's lightsaber, and the hilt is different. It's the one that he stole from the guy that we talked about yesterday. So the lightsaber hilt that we know and love from the original trilogy, that's not the one he starts out with, which is pretty interesting. So hopefully we'll get to learn what happens and how he comes to have the one that he has when he got super popular with all of us back in 77 and beyond. For now, though, that's going to do it. Again, thank you so much for joining me for this episode, and may the Force be with you, wherever in the world you may be.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.